The world's greatest superhero team that isn't the Justice League fractures on multiple fronts. When Hawkman finds a new ally in the Demon Dimension, Dr. Mid-Nite escapes the Injustice Society, and Jade finds out the team has a traitor. It's all right here in our review of JSA number 5 from DC Comics. See you in 3. Welcome back to Comical Opinions. Before we dig in, here's a quick recap. When we last left the best team that's not the Justice League in JSA number 4, Dr. Mid-Nite snuck through the underground catacombs of the Injustice Society to find out what they're up to. Her searching led to Obsidian, strapped to a machine that keeps his mind stuck in a virtual world. Meanwhile, Jakeem had his own of the mind troubles, but the story gets even weirder when Obsidian and Jakeem find each other in a virtual reality. And that brings us to the current issue. In JSA number 5, the loose threads that have been peppered out throughout the series so far get picked back up and come back together, sort of. In the Demon Dimension, Hawkman gets help from a wandering ghost who seems to think she's the new Kid Eternity. The ghost frees Hawkman, who heads off to find his wings, weapons, and armor. When the two encounter a trio of demons with Hawkman's stuff, they find themselves outmatched when things get a little bit hairy. Thankfully, Kendra swoops in after she left the Tower of Fate a couple issues back to save the day. The trio of Hawkman, Hawkgirl, and maybe Kid Eternity, I'm not quite sure if it's true or not, head back to the Tower of Fate. Back on Earth, Beth, also known as Dr. Mid-Nite, finds herself at the mercy of a surprise punch by Scandal Savage. Beth finds a small pebble on the ground as she's laying there with Scandal's foot on her neck, and she uses a well-aimed throw to shatter the only lamp in the room, giving her the darkness she needs to overwhelm Scandal and escape with Obsidian's unconscious body. Meanwhile, in a quick cutscene, the consciousness of Obsidian and Jakeem escape the hospital by busting through an outer wall. Unfortunately, they find that the outside world to the hospital is nothing but a massive maze. They definitely figure out they're not in Kansas anymore, but they're not quite sure what to do about it. Elsewhere, we return back to the JSA headquarters. The fake Obsidian, who is really Johnny Sorrow in disguise, announces the JSA sensors have picked up on Beth's communicator signal. He urges his teammates to take action now instead of waiting for the rest of the team or permission from Jade. Wildcat and Jesse Quick agree, but our man chooses to stay behind because he's noticed Obsidian's rash decisions lately don't feel right. They're supposed to be a family, they're supposed to be a team, and right now they're not acting that way. Obsidian seems to be at the heart of it. The issue ends with Sandman and Jade concluding they have a traitor in their midst when they figure out there's no other way somebody could get to Jakeem. Grundy arrives in the Demon Dimension with Gentleman Ghost to claim Hawkman for whatever plan the ISA is cooking up, and an army of demons assembles to lay siege to the Tower of Fate. So that's the issue. Let's talk about impressions, art, and so on. I would say individually, I like every piece of what's happening in JSA number 5. I don't like that the pieces are all smashed together in a chaotic jumble of bits and pieces all flying relatively in the same direction. Jeff Lemire would serve this title a lot better if he pared back a couple of the subplots, because not all of them seem to be necessary, or at least they're incidental to what's going on, and told a more focused, purpose-driven story. Moving to the art, we have Diego Olortegui, I think I'm saying that right, who's back to more of a closer form to what we saw when he drew last year's Jay Garrick miniseries, which we liked a lot. I in particular thought it was kind of a mid-century classic, almost golden age feel, but with a little bit of a modern twist. I liked it there. I didn't like it so much starting in with the first couple of issues of this title, but it seems to be getting a little bit closer to what we liked in the Jay Garrick series. The figure work is sharper and cleaner, which is good, and Olortegui's compositions are a little bit more dynamic than what we've seen in the first couple of issues. Plus, Luis Guerrero's coloring choices are pretty darn good. Let's move over to the pros and cons and what's great about JSA number 5. Again, the pieces in Jeff Lemire's multifaceted story are each interesting in their own right. Gentleman Ghost and Grundy chasing the Hawks through hell would have been an unheard of dream just a few years ago. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that comic nerds love to talk about and imagine putting those pieces together. And we're finally getting it. That's a great thing. The ISA's master plan sounds like it could be a doozy because you're collecting ancient artifacts of great power. And the dramatic tension created by Johnny Sorrow's plan to undermine the JSA from within as a fake Obsidian is well done so far. So let's switch over to what could be better about JSA number 5. Jeff Lemire's script is just a little too scattered to enjoy because your attention is being pulled in every direction. You're yanked this way and then that way, and every 2 or 3 pages it's a different scene in a different context, and you have to kind of remind yourself what's going on. After the weirdly unnecessary flashback reversal stuff that was going on in issues 1 and 2, you get the impression Lemire is sort of experimenting with different plot structures as he goes, and it isn't working out well as a reading experience. I mean, you're getting the story, but it's a very jarring, disjointed way of delivering it. Again, this title will be better served by paring back the non-essential subplots to focus on what matters. Doing too much too soon, and if I had to guess, I would say possibly to front load the story in case it doesn't get continued past issue 12, is starting to get a bit messy. Final thoughts. What do we think about JSA number 5? It ramps up the tension and action on multiple fronts when the JSA is scattered by the ISA's master plan. Jeff Lemire's script moves the plot forward in a myriad of ways, and Diego Olortegui's art is solid. That said, Lemire's multi-plot tale does too much too fast, so it feels very overstuffed. Therefore, JSA number 5 earns a 6.5 out of 10. It's not a bad issue. It's just, and there's a lot of great things going. There's a lot of characters in here that I love and I want to see more of, but it's just a little bit too all over the place. It's like a cat chasing a laser pointer that's being shaked around on a wall. But what do you think? I mean, do you like the JSA? Do you love the JSA? Do you want to see them do more things? I want to hear your opinion about what you think about the world's original and first superhero team, at least for DC Comics anyway. Leave a thumbs up if you found this review helpful, and drop a comment below with which JSA, either former or current member, you want to see spotlighted, and maybe which villain you haven't seen in a while they go up against. Also, remember to click on the link in the description to read the written review, check out the variant covers and preview pages, and buy this comic to help support the channel. Your support, of course, is greatly appreciated, and if you're watching on YouTube, please click on the subscribe button down below and hit that bell for notifications. So thank you very much for joining, and stay tuned through the outro for more reviews just like this one.